Today, we're working on this pile. Yeah, I know, not a cool old muscle car, not a cool old hot rod. This is, well, my ranch beater truck, and it was bought out of a tow yard, basically, as you see it. Got it running, works pretty well. However, this headlight situation, well, they're all falling out, obviously, and I'd like to be able to run this to town for like hardware store runs and whatnot, and I just can't really do that with the headlights dangling by the wires. So I'm going to set about fixing that. The problem, I cannot stand the look of the front end of this truck. It is ugly as sin. So I'm going to backdate it to the 99 to 2002 look. I've got basically most of the front clip for one, and I'm going to see about swapping some parts around and make it look a lot better. I mean, style-wise. Color-wise, it's going to look terrible. Yeah, that's the norm. All right, it's another day working on the ranch truck. I mean, obviously we have more light. We ran out of light the other day, and, you know, it got dark, but I got a fender on and a headlight and tried to put that on, but come to find out it wouldn't clear the bumper, which I kind of figured. I was trying to actually get away with not taking the bumper off, obviously, hence the little bit of frustration getting there. But yeah, bumper's gonna have to come off. Yeah, so I'm gonna take it off, and I might figure out how to, like, you know, modify it a little bit to be able to clear this light, because I really don't feel like buying another bumper after getting all this junk. Yeah, so I'm gonna walk you through kind of where some of the hardware is on this thing, in case you happen to be doing something similar. You don't have to go through the trial and error like I did to figure this out. Or you could watch another video from somebody else on YouTube that did it. You know, they probably know better. I don't know, but I just did it and figured it out, so I'll share that with you. And for those of you wondering why you hear barnyard sounds, well, there's a barnyard right there with sheep and goats and ponies and stuff. All right, when removing a fender, there's a bolt here. There's one down there, like, you know, right in sideways up front. Then obviously you've got two here. You have the battery brace that normally goes across. There's two back here. Then in the door jamb, I don't have them yet installed. One there, one there. Underneath, I pulled the fender well liner out to access things better because some of these wiring things are clipped onto the wiring things. And you have to pull the battery tray out because it bridges the gap between there, 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 and there. And, well, this thing is kind of bolted to it as well. The electrical panel, yeah, all the goodies. So you pop this cover off, then you come around here, pull this, pull that, and, you know, kind of finagle your hand into these latches here. And with this out of the way, this whole outer shroud comes off. Then there's two studs right about here and here, have terminals on them. You take those loose. Then there's a snap lock thing on one side here and one over here. Pull those, and then this whole fuse tray with wiring attached kind of lifts up out of the way. Underneath there are two bolts right about here and here, and then there's two more that are, well, like here and here sideways into the fender. So there's four bolts under that mess. Beyond that, there is a bracket right there. Now, when doing the conversion from the earlier fender to the later fender, I needed the bracket from the early fender. So, that involved taking that nut and that nut loose, and well, the bracket was already on the fender, so it just slid into place. But I had to take the old bracket off, which is right here, and was bolted in place. Hence why I took the fender liner out, so I could bolt there to get that off, when I should have just pulled those two nuts off instead, but that's that. Now, as far as the headlight holders go, there's a smattering of bolts for that. Now, we've got kind of two here, two down there. There's this guy up here, and then there's another one down here behind the bumper, pretty much straight in line below this. So it would be a lot easier to take the bumper off because access. Live and learn. So as I'm continuing today, I'm going to put the battery tray back in this side and try to get this, like, you know, kind of buttoned up a bit. I'm not going to tighten things down yet because I want some room to move and adjust panel gaps and stuff like that after. So all the hardware that you see, what's in is loose because movement. Good. Yeah. Now I'm going to also go ahead and, well, we're going to get rid of this fender. Yeah, right there. That fender. It's going to go away. I'm going to replace it with the other one I've got and continue. All right, on this side, we're going to move the bolt holding the coolant reservoir on. It's hiding right there. And got to pull the cover for the air filter, get inside there, and there's surely some hardware that's holding it to the fender as well. So I'm going to pull the lid off, get in there, and get this stuff taken off. Wouldn't you know it, I was wrong. While there is fasteners holding airbox to the inner fender, you'll see they are those silly little plastic push lock things that come up from the bottom. Now, that being said, there is a bolt right here and another one over there that is holding a tray between the core support and the fender that we are going to have to get. So I'm going to go into there, pop these clips, see about getting this out of the way. So yeah, in order to get to those two clips, I got to pull the inner fender liner out, and well, I'm not going to do that just yet. I'm going to go after the coolant reservoir first and get that out of the way. Then I'll see about pulling the inner fender liner out after I pop some wiring clips and doodads of that nature up here. And yeah, favorite tool, 90-degree pick for popping wiring clips, because you can kind of get in there and pop the little catch and they come right out. Yeah. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So these wiring clips that GM likes to use all over the place, like this. You can kind of see there's this little triangular hole right here. Pick it right in there, pop it just like that. Now, in case you're wondering, I'm not really doing a step-by-step how-to video. I mean, there's other videos that are probably way better than anything I would do. This is just to follow along and see what kind of mess I can get myself into and hopefully back out of. Oh, phooey. So yeah, like I was saying about that step-by-step how-to video that I'm not doing, yeah. Because if you'd watched one of those other videos, I'm sure that they would have told you that there's more than one bolt holding this coolant reservoir in. Yeah, there's this guy right there, but there's also another one hiding, well, kind of down under the corner of the airbox right here. So, of course, I now got to pull the fender liner out first, then pull the airbox, then pull the fastener for the coolant reservoir. Yeah. Now, I will say, I kind of have a love-hate relationship with these stupid little plastic clips. They're nice to put in. They're miserable to get out. I'm sure when they were new, they worked great, but inevitably, they're full of dirt and sand and debris that makes them very difficult to move. And, well, they have like these little recessed areas on either side that I'll go in there with like 2 screwdrivers and kind of pry them up a little bit and try to get them started. But this guy, yeah, this trim tool works really good. You just slide it under there, leverage the pin out, and then generally these things will wiggle out. Yeah, it's nice if you have a little bit of like WD-40 or something. When you put them back together, they go together really nice. Getting them out, kind of miserable. So for those of you wondering, if you just grab the airbox and pull it straight up, yeah, it kind of pops right out. It has these little nubbin things on there that go into a rubber fastener, and sometimes the fastener comes out with it. But regardless, just pull really hard and it'll come out. Alright, so now with the airbox out, we've got this tray in there, and we can finally get to our coolant reservoir bolt there. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 bolts in that tray. So we'll go ahead and get those pulled out, get that off, and then we should be in the realm of getting this fender removed. I think I still have that lower bolt in there to get, but we're close. So real quick, what I tried to do was just pull those bolts, those 1, 2, 3, leave that bracket in place and slide the fender off. But obviously that wouldn't happen because that stud is through that hole. So then I tried to take that off. Well, that's not going to happen because the fender won't go down due to other things. So I'm going to have to pull those to get that bracket off, and then we should be in luck. Helps if I get the one at the bottom of the fender. Yeah. That little guy at the bottom in the back. Don't forget that one. As a quick tip, for those of you with these trucks, every once in a while take a garden hose, cram it down in the bottom back corner of that fender, because it builds up with that stuff. Just packs in there. And, well, it'll keep you from rusting a fender out too early, because yeah, it looks like that. Pretty nasty, so flush it out once in a while. All right, so real quick, the back edge of this fender didn't line up with the door real well. I kind of need the whole thing to go up. There's a bracket back here bolted to the cowl. I'm gonna adjust it up and see if that'll help. I'll bring you in for a closer look here. All right, so this is the bracket I'm talking about. The fender has a lip that sits flat on top of here. There's 2 bolts that hold this bracket to the cowl. I'm going to loosen them up and slide this up a little bit and see if that'll help my fender alignment at the door. Obviously, if you really care about your truck and your finish, you're going to want to like mask this off and take care not to, you know, lay the fender against the door like I did. But yeah, I really don't care. This is a ranch truck. But that being said, it had to be sort of decent with the better looking front end, because God, that original one was awful. So went and adjusted this, and well, tried to adjust it. Didn't actually adjust it because it was all the way up. So I'm gonna take the crescent wrench, kind of lean on it a little bit, see if we can help it out, go a little higher. That's better. Looks like it did the trick. Put those on, but you know, the bumper's in the way. Yeah, it's already better. You'll notice 2 long bolts, 3 short ones. 2 long ones go over there, 3 short ones over there. Not that it matters, because this is not a how-to video. Ready? Start one bit. The top one. So, got the hood on, and made a little discovery. Hood latch has to be changed because, well, the handle fits here, and it won't allow latching to occur. So, that's gonna have to get changed. And in the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and get this bumper off because, well, can't put the front end the rest of the way together, and what good is that? So, bumper removal next. All right, yeah, it's another day. Like, too many days spent doing something that was way too quick and easy to do. And as you'll notice, there is a bumper on here, but it's not really on there. It's kind of got a bit of the, underbite. So it's sitting there. I wanted to see how it looked and what had to be trimmed, if anything, and I'm debating whether I even want to mess with it. I might just actually try to find the right bumper for this front end and not use the old one for the old ugly front end. Anyway, yeah, it's just sitting there regardless. Some of you eagle-eyed viewers might have noticed that while under the hood here, there's a radiator missing. Yeah, so this truck, like I said, was bought from a tow yard. And, well, originally it was bought as a parts truck. I was going to basically take it apart or, just keep it around in whole form, not really using it to use as parts for my wife's Suburban because, well, my wife drives the wheels off of her Suburban. It's an 05, and it's got, well, I don't know, the odometer quit working, but it's probably around 400,000 miles on it. It's been rebuilt a time or two. So, needless to say, I like to have parts sources on hand, which is what this truck actually was intended for. I got it and decided to see if it would run, which it did, and then I decided to see if it worked, which it did, and then I realized, well, this would be a really darn handy farm truck to, do farm chores and stuff in. And so that's kind of what happened. We decided to start using it. And my wife got in it and said, well, the inside of this thing is actually really not that bad. And it is just like my Suburban. And I kind of like it. So needless to say, it's kind of been getting used around the ranch. That being said, obviously, it can't be used without a radiator. She was getting ready to leave on one of her work trips, and literally as she was going out the driveway, I realized that the radiator had sprung a leak. So, in the effort to get her on the road on time, we had to do a quick radiator swap. Stole it out of here, put it in her Suburban. Here's this thing is sat. That being said, I have a new radiator. So, I'm going to go ahead and throw that in, and we're going to try to, make this thing an operable vehicle once again, which would be nice. All right. We have brand new radiator from local auto parts store. Now, why doesn't my wife's Suburban get the brand new radiator, you might be asking? Well, that was actually my intent. And, well, she nor her Suburban is here right now. And, well, she actually said, put the new radiator in the truck. So, that's what I'm going to do. I've got her blessing. I'm not going to worry about it. Really. Maybe a little bit. Look, it even comes with new Rubber stoppers. That's cool. And new rubber grommets up top. See, I like when they're thoughtful like this. You know, funny story. The radiator that failed in my wife's Suburban was actually essentially brand new. It was bought from, well, you know, online somewhere. And, well, supposedly decent-ish radiator, but it didn't last 6 months. And I was very frustrated. Brand new radiator died. And it did not come with all these fancy little accoutrements, and I guess that's why you pay a little bit extra for one. You get the little doodads and bobbers with it, and you try not to drop it on the ground. You know, these are nice and all, but I'm really debating if I should run those or not, because I'm actually a fan of the OEM stuff. It usually just seems to last longer and be of better quality. You know, the aftermarket stuff, I don't know why, rubber stuff in particular. And I'm not saying that this exactly is bad. Just in previous experience with aftermarket parts, rubber stuff just does not last like the OEM stuff does for some reason. I don't know why. So I'm kind of tempted to use the OEM mounts underneath. And, well, I might get away with using these because, well, they're here. And, well, yeah, I don't know. Now, for those of you that probably aren't wondering, well, how do you do a radiator change in one of these? Well, I'm going to tell you, there's other YouTubes out there that are much better than this one at explaining that. This is not a how-to video. What are you watching this for, honestly? Now, this being an 05, it's got electric fans. 04 and earlier, I believe, were manual fans, and, well, this one's electric. So, in order to get the radiator out, you got to remove the two upper bolts for the electric fans, pick that up and kind of slide it to the rear. I think it's hooked into the radiator down low somehow, so pick it up, put it back. Then pull the two upper bolts on the radiator. Obviously, you disconnect your upper and lower radiator hoses. Come on, I mean, this is basic knowledge here. And, well, you got to pull the transcooler lines, and those have a little funny clip that's kind of a pain to... Well, it's not that bad to get off. They're a pain to reinstall if you don't get them just right. But regardless, this is not a how-to video. I don't know why I'm telling you this. As you can see, we have our fans. They're just kind of leaned to the rear. The lower mount, it's that white thing there, and, well, there's another white thing right there. Yeah. The radiator has a couple of pegs that just drop in the mounts, or sometimes the mounts will be stuck to the radiator, and you just put the whole thing in the hole because, well, these things just sit in that giant hole right there. And yeah, that's really all there is to it. Not fancy at all. Yeah, see, these are the pegs I was talking about. And well, that's the aftermarket rubber that's pretty soft and pliable, and there's nothing against that. It's got kind of a little bit of a plastic center to it, and, well, I don't know. This one, yeah, it's older and firmer, but I don't know. It is kind of a loose fit. Maybe I will swap it. I tend to like these a little better, but it doesn't fit quite the way I'd like it to here. So, maybe we'll go ahead and run this one instead. So I gotta reach in here, pull the other one out, like so. Move the overflow line. Yeah, don't forget to disconnect the coolant overflow line. But this isn't a how-to video. Yeah, you kind of, you know, aim roughly this direction. Half of that in. And move fans out of the way. Carefully. Lower gently. Try not to drop the bumper on my toes. would be very nice. There. Kind of like that, sort of ish. No, still not super thrilled with this. I feel like it could be better. Like, these mounts just aren't the most ideal thing. Yeah, this is why you don't just kind of set a bumper there, because it tries to take your feet off. Yeah. So yeah, there are little hooks about 2/3 of the way down on the radiator that this electric fan sits in. And I kind of thought they were there. It's been a little bit since I took the radiator out, but I kind of remembered there's something to that effect. Now, 2 more bolts for that, one there, one over there, and we have our fans back in place. Not you guys. I mean, while I love you, you're fantastic fans. I'm talking these fans. Alrighty. Pull the fancy saran wrap cover, and well, that'll go there. I'm gonna leave that loose because, well, we want to fill and burp the system. But we do have to do this lower hose. Do that. Get it in there. In there faster. So I need to go get a long screwdriver for that hose clamp down there. And then we have transmission lines to put back in place. And we should be about there. I mean, obviously I gotta put the air duct back in, but yeah. Right, we have our handy super long extension to reach way down here. So we don't have to try to turn a screwdriver, much less a wrench or ratchet, on a hose clamp. Now, for those of you that are unfamiliar, consider yourselves lucky that you haven't had to deal with these yet. This little clip, I'll try to get a closer view. Yeah, that is what holds the transmission line into the radiator. Now, there's this fitting with a groove on it. Yeah, I think you can see this guy. It's got a groove on here, and well, the clip snaps into that groove. Not really a problem, except there's a hole in the groove in 3 locations around. And, well, that's for the 3 portions of the clip there. And what happens when you try to install this is the end of the clip goes in the hole, and it goes through the hole. And, well, it's not a problem when something is fairly accessible, but if you're contoured up underneath the vehicle, trying to do one of these on the side of the transmission with one hand and, you know, the wrist bent the wrong way, and it's not fun. So, yeah, kind of have a love-hate relationship with these things. They're easy to take off, terrible to put on. I'm going to go after the bottom one first because, well, it's the harder one, and I want to get it out of the way. So, yeah. Here we go. Any guesses on how many times I drop this? And if I lose it altogether? You know what? I just made a discovery. So, here I am trying to put this old clip on. Come to find out, there's brand new clips already in those fittings that were so graciously supplied to me However, I didn't expect to see them there, and thus they're in the way, which makes it impossible to get the clip on. Yeah. Come on. Now I have to pull these guys out. Almost. So close. Ta-da. I tell you, the 90-degree pick is one of my favorite tools. So useful in so many situations. Oh, got it. All right, let's try this again. This time with feeling. You know, the transmission line goes in a lot better when you have the clip removed from the fitting. Who'd have thought? That's weird. Alright, that guy goes in there. And the clippy, clip goes in. Wow, that just went right on there. Weird. Put the keeper back in place, top and bottom. Look at that. Well, it's almost like I knew what I was doing. Almost. Don't be fooled, though. I don't. Well, sometimes I do. I've done this before, so maybe I know what I'm doing. It doesn't matter. Don't listen to me. All that's left is to connect up a couple of the hose clippy clips, put the airbox dealy bobber inlet back on, and should be about there. Obviously need coolant, gonna have to top up transmission fluid, but it's almost a truck again. Almost. With no bumper. Little closer look at the difference in the latch handles. That's all it takes. Alright folks, there you have it. Aside from missing a front bumper, which I'll tend to later, this thing should be basically wrapped up, and we're gonna try to actually start it for the first time in I forget how many months since I pulled that radiator out. So yeah, we're gonna go do some ranch truck things. As you can see, it's another day. The goats are interrupting. The weather's nicer. And, well, I finally got the gas put in the gas tank of the farm truck. So now we can actually see if this will run and go like it used to, because, I mean, we didn't really do anything mechanically. We just replaced some cosmetic stuff. So, yeah, we're going to go out and do some farm truck stuff real quick. Before I forget, you know, farm truck things.
come back soon. He's doing a Chevy, like a Chevy truck. But super loud. He just pulled out the junk one. It's a little too loud for me, but I love it. I need to stay burn out in the driveway. I hope you've seen that on this next video. I had no idea this is going to do that next video, but this thing does not just burn out. Probably still not. But you put all the new parts back on it. The front still looks awful because it has no teeth. There it comes down the hill. Just see on the front, it's the service.